Welcome to Micka on Influence, your go-to podcast for bold conversations and impactful insight into influencer marketing, content creation, and the ever-growing creator economy. Every week, we are diving deep into real stories, smart strategies, and game-changing moves, shaping this dynamic space. From top creators to brand strategists, CMOs to media planners, we bring you raw, actionable insight straight from the front lines. This is where influence meets intention. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to yet another episode of Micka on Influence. It's the podcast that creates awareness and invites you into the world of influencer marketing as well as media and how it all ties together. Now, every episode, I bring you an expert, all right? Someone that's at the top of the food chain when it comes to their work, filled with knowledge, and they're going to be sharing it with you. Today is no different. Joining me is Mbulelo Mashilo. Welcome.
Hi, Micka. Thank you for having me.
So good to have you. Mbulelo, you are the brand manager of Dough Experts and Low. And before we dive into the world of influencer marketing, tell us a bit about yourself and what are some of your passions?
Before we dive in, I'll just talk about me. Thank you. I'm Mbulelo, the brand manager for Dough Experts in South Africa, and also look after Low Espresso in South Africa. It's all part of the group of JDE Pete's. I think my passions are more on storytelling, especially through brands that connect to people's daily rituals. Example, coffee, with Dough Experts. And then also outside of work, I think my passions are, apart from my daily job, is listening to music, going to concerts, catching up with Lord of the Rings and stuff like that here and there. I love movies.
Nice.
I love soccer as well. Chelsea, Kaizer Chiefs in South Africa. So quite a broad amount of stuff that I like doing and passions I have.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Now, you did mention storytelling and emotional connection. That is quite central to your type of work. Please tell me, why is that, and what do you think, or which brands get it right?
So I think when talking about storytelling, it's also about talking about the work that brands and, us as brand managers, marketing managers, agencies and so forth put into the campaigns we work on. So it's rewarding to help shape the next generation, with regards to the people that come up in our industry. But at the same time, they need to understand that a brand has a story and it has to be a compelling story. So it's not just about having a campaign launch, but what is the story behind the campaign? One of the interesting ones that I'd like to tell you about was, I know you're a Dough Experts fan. I mean, we've spoken before. And it was the Deco Jar campaign we ran last year, where we got local South African artists to actually design art, and we slapped that on the jars and brought that to the world. It was available in retail. And they told their stories through each of their designs on our jars. Some was about culture, some was about the patterns in Cape Town, and so forth. So I believe that storytelling, and that's a really great example that I've worked on personally.
I think it's wonderful that your brand is giving creators and artists out there that opportunity. That's huge. Imagine seeing something that was in your head now on a coffee jar in retail. So that's pretty incredible. The fact that you really actually stand on business when you say we're going to collaborate and we're going to put emotion behind storytelling. And that's a phenomenal example of how you did that. Mbulelo, tell us about how you got into the world of influencer marketing and exactly take me back to that first time that you thought this is the job for me.
Sure. It was a couple of years ago. So you know that my job obviously encompasses a lot of different touch points, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I've been dealing for years with above the line, digital, below the line campaigns and stuff like that. But I mean, influencer marketing in particular, I first couple of years ago in my career, when I started out at Young Brands, I was working in the marketing department for Pizza Hut Africa. And it started off with just collaborations, on building brand awareness for that brand. I mean, it had just been in the market for about under 5 years or so, and it was like getting it out there. It didn't have the budgets to play in TV or, millions on activations and stuff like that. And one of the key things that were coming out in those times were influencer marketing. And, just seeing the power of how authentic voices work in consumer perceptions and trust. So if I remember, that was the first time I can remember my first influencer campaign.
Wow.
So, wow, incredible. And then what do you think makes influencer marketing so unique?
It's personal. People follow
Mm,
influencers because they trust them, if I might say so. It allows brands to tap into, real conversations and the storytelling I was talking about. It's not
mm,
just about push messages, right? It's also, you have to also be incredibly agile. You can test, you can learn and adapt quickly with influencer marketing. So instead of just pushing stuff, you can actually get, voices that people trust. And I like to speak of them as, in a way, brand advocates for campaigns.
that's right. And speaking of the voices that people trust, do you think there is some negatives behind that or some challenges, especially when it comes to that world? For instance, I'm just thinking at the top of my head, if there's an influencer that I follow and I trust them, right, with everything that I've got. Now, all of a sudden, there is some backlash. And cancel culture is so big right now. They're getting canceled. Um,
Yeah.
how does that influence your brand? How do you guys go about working through that?
And I mean, we can touch on that. I mean, there's always going to be challenges in any campaign or any execution or touch point, right? For
Hmm.
brands. So we're always going to find a challenge. I think it's about, like you're saying, people are getting cancelled. Like, it's just a very dark period to live in, but it's also an exciting period to live in, right? Because it's about us as brands finding the right influencer.
Mm,
Because it's getting the right brand fit. Authenticity is everything. And, measuring the return on investment beyond likes and shares is very
yeah.
important, with the engagement that they receive and so forth. So it's always important, managing expectations both internally in what the brand wants and with the influencers in what they can deliver. So, for
Mm,
example, a campaign, finding the right influencer is like, okay, with Law, we recently have the Law capsules that have launched, and it's this global partnership that we have with Ferrari Hypercar, right? And we have 4 SKUs launched that consumers can go and get in retail. And it was about, okay, this is a hypercar Ferrari partnership. So it's not the usual type of influencer, that we'd always use. That's just a coffee drinker focused on lifestyle. So we wanted that. And we also had to find ones that are interested in motorsports and actually watch that because they'll know what they're talking about. So brand fits are very important. But yeah, there are challenges in this day and age, but it's just being agile and trying to do what you can do for your brand and trusting the influencer themselves, right? So
yeah. I love how positive you are about this. You're just like, no, this is not going to take a bad turn. There are other ways. I like that. And that's why you're the brand manager, clearly. Talk to me about data and analytics. How important are both of those things? And could you explain it to our viewers that maybe aren't familiar with these terminologies and how they play a part in brand campaigns?
no, data and analytics, I would say, is absolutely critical.
Mm,
It's not just, I always say that marketing and branding and advertising is not just about the fun things people see on air or hear on the radio or see on social media. We have to make decisions, right?
yeah.
Going forward after campaigns and stuff. And data and analytics assist us in making these decisions. So data helps us understand what's working, what's not
Mm,
working, and where to optimize and where to do better or where to, shift budgets and stuff like that. So I would say it also helps just justifying spend and
mm,
building stronger cases for future campaigns. So data and analytics are something that you are constantly have to track on a weekly basis
mm.
if you're in a campaign.
Okay, okay. And how would you explain that to your average viewer right now that's not sure how it works in like plain and simple words? What is it?
So I would say in simple words is that I've got a campaign running, right? It's fine, and let me make it an influencer campaign. So I've got a campaign where I've seen, okay, he or she has reached likes and and awareness to the point of impressions. And I think when you see impressions, it's how many people have gone through it, right? And then there's likes and
Yes.
engagements and content in the comments and all of that. So all that gives me a direction of how successful the post or campaign has went. And then I can now optimize, and I can also, I mean, there's also ways that I can tell in the campaign, like in the FMCG business, if I link a campaign to a take a lot outlet like e-commerce or something like that, right? Take a lot or something, and you post, engagement's reached, awareness is reached. Maybe we've even boosted it through the influencer agency we work with, right? And it was a really compelling post you had. We can actually put a link there where shop now. I'm sure you've seen it on many posts. So I can tell that from an influencer how much was directed to my website or directed to my e-com platforms. And it most of the time return on investment is sales, right?
Wow, yes. Wow. Okay. Thank you for making that very clear. We now know exactly what that is, analytics and data, and the importance of that when it comes to influencer campaigns. Let's speak
Yes.
about trends, all right? We all follow them. Everyone, there's a new trend every day, I feel like. And what are the trends right now to be on the lookout for?
So the trends that you need to look out for is that, and it's just as a marketer and people that want to go into the space, especially with the digital and influencing, is always look at what research agencies are putting out, and so forth. So one of the important things, and I think it's been happening over the past few years and is still important to note now, is the rise of micro and nano influencers. In the past, I mean, when this first blew up, there were the influencers that have hundreds of thousands of followers and all the brands want to work with them. And in more cases, it would be celebrities or reality stars and stuff like that. But there is a really strong trend rising towards micro and nano influencers that are even in the normal thousands to the tens of thousands, because I believe that they drive deeper engagement, long-term partnerships over, one of posts. So if I'm going to post with someone with 5,000, what is this audience on Facebook or Instagram, most likely those 5,000 people are following that person because of the deep engagement that they have with that person instead of a macro celebrity. So I can have a campaign where I have 20 to 50 of people with 5,000 followers on average each. And I believe that if they advocate for the product, that will really, that's even more trusted by the audience that follows them. So more focus on video content, especially on short-term form like reels and stuff, and hence the rise of TikTok. That's where all these content creators are rising from.
That's
So
true.
strong trend I see there.
Nice. All right. I hope all macro and nano influencers are taking note right now and getting their stories and their posts sorted, because you made a lot of people excited now. I think a lot of people are thinking, okay, great, it's shifting gears now. It's my time. So I'm encouraging you, if you're watching this, it's your time. Go make some content right now. Mbulelo, talk to me about
Yes.
artificial intelligence. I'm scared of this word, because I see them everywhere and I'm scared they come for my job as an interviewer personally. They are rising. AI is everywhere, especially in the influencer market. What is your take? And
Of
are there
course.
some positives? Are there some negatives, do you think?
So I think, in my opinion, that there are more positives than negatives. And it's, as I said earlier, that, it's us being agile and understanding and keeping up with research and understanding what are the new technologies on offer. So, I mean, in my opinion, AI will help us better identify influencer matches and predict campaign outcomes. So if the agencies we deal with, if you can incorporate AI, and here's my brief. It always starts with the brief that this is the campaign, these are the objectives, and this is the type of content we see coming out into driving the products we are launching or campaign we are launching. AI might be able to really, I mean, there's thousands of influencers now. AI might be able to sift through all of that and find key matches in their profiles and recommend out of the thousands. And it might help with influencer agencies, instead of spending all those hours doing it yourself for all the clients you have, then AI might be able to sift through all of that and get the key messages from their content that they posted. So I think that influencer match point of view is brilliant for my part. And I think that's going to still come to play. And also predicting campaign outcomes. So if I run XY campaign with this amount of people, what is the reach? I mean, we want reach when we're doing with influencers, right? So what is the reach I'm going to get? What are the outcomes of the engagements I'm going to get? How far can my product really go in this launch if I do this? It might be able to predict those outcomes. It has the
Wow.
metrics, it has the formulas, and it has the internet, so it will be able to find that out for me. And I think it will also streamline content creation and reporting, even on the influencers' part, to make use of AI, and then also reporting from our part. But I never take away that human creativity and authenticity is always key to any campaign. So
Yes.
that's one thing that AI will never really dominate. It can help with everything else, but with the human being itself,
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
priceless. Yeah.
There really is nothing like human connection and presence. We can feel a warm human presence and we relate to that more than, an artificial intelligence influencer. So influencers, don't worry, don't panic. All is well in the world of influencer
Yeah.
marketing as long as you stay authentic and create brand relationships, which leads me to my next question. What is your advice for new influencers that's really getting into the market and taking this influencer marketing seriously? When it comes to brand
Mm.
relationships, what would you advise them to do or be on the lookout for?
So I think the glitz and glamours that come with influencing, and if you get it right, I mean, they all want it. I mean, we'd also want it ourselves if I knew how to be an influencer. But I look at it from a brand perspective, and I think being authentic,
Mm,
not
yes.
compromising your voice for a brand. That's why I said brand fits and the right influencer fits are very important.
Hmm.
You, you can't be a person that's against caffeine, but just because Dow Egberts comes with an influencer campaign and it's going to pay you, you're going to post on it. So just be authentic,
Yeah.
because you won't do justice to yourself and you probably won't really do justice to my brand as well. So be authentic. Don't compromise your voice for brand. Understand the value, the value and audience of that brand,
Mm,
which goes back to what I'm saying, that the brand fit is important. Understand what that brand stands for. In most influencer marketing briefs, you will put what the brand's beliefs are and core beliefs are and the objectives of the brand, right? And you'll understand the audience we're looking for because we'll segment the audience. So just always understand that, communicate clearly and professionally. It builds long-term relationships with the brand and with your audience. So that's just my advice: authenticity and right brand fits. Don't compromise yourself, and just focus on being clear and professional, and build long term partnerships and relationships with the corporate side of things, with the brand and with your audience.
oh, that is beautifully said. Thank you so much for that insight and wisdom. Talk to me about an execution partner. I'm not sure what this is exactly, and how making sure
Mhm.
influencer marketing campaigns are then successful.
An execution partner, and that on my point of view, I think you'd be referring to the agency that helps us execute it, right?
Okay, yes, yes.
Yes. So I would say that a good partner needs to ensure alignment, right? So strong alignment between the influencer and ourselves as the brand. Manage logistics. So, a lot of the time it's not just about you posting. There's a lot of things in the beginning to the end that even the influencer packs need to be created. We don't just say go and post on my brand. It's like we gonna send you a pack with the new product in and all that. And a lot of the time, those are tailor made to the influencer.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they had health and lifestyle as a thing, would probably put in some stuff that are related to that. If that is motorsports and stuff like that, maybe we'll put stuff related to that. So all those logistics, getting that to the influencer to get them excited about also doing it is very important. And it helps measure the success. I think that execution partners, they're an extension of the brand team and play a key role in the delivery of a campaign. They're an extension of the brand they're working for, and they're our
Right.
voice.
Yes, yes, that makes a lot of sense. And what is your view on creator-led brands? How is it growing? How is that a growing channel?
Creator-led brands, I think, definitely it's a growing channel. It's an exciting space.
Hmm.
Creators have built loyal communities, and that trust translates and relates into strong brand equity, in my opinion.
Mm.
It's a space where, I mean, it is a space we're watching very closely, especially for collaboration opportunities. But yeah, it's an exciting one.
All right. Well, this is the last question, and it's a mouthful, so I have to read it. In WPP's media's latest global ad forecast, right? For the first time,
Hmm.
more than 50% of content-driven ads or content-driven ad dollars are flowing into creator platforms and not traditional media. This is the first time we're seeing this. This is obviously mind-blowing. Firstly, did you see that coming? Did you see that happening ever? Who could have predicted this?
No, we see it. We deal with budgets on a yearly, monthly, weekly basis. So, and we're agile with it. But I mean, it is a shift that has been building for a while. So
Mm,
it has been around. And I think the relation is that consumers are spending more time on creator platforms, and
yes, you
we
are
as brands
right.
are following that. We understand how many audiences are on each platforms of creators. So yeah, that shift has been happening. And it's also a reminder to stay agile and meet audiences where the audiences are. But
Yes.
no
Okay.
surprise in that. Yeah.
Fantastic. And then, how do you see South African creativity influence global brand conversations?
With South Africa, we are very diverse market. I mean, a lot of the campaigns that we do run, I mean, even with the big brands, are brands that can go, what do I call it? They can go viral in a way, right? Our
Yes.
pop culture
Yes.
goes viral, our sports goes viral.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be smart and align yourself and try and partner with viral moments like that, I think it's very important. Like I said, with the whole activation we had done with the Tau Egberts, local artists and all like that. I mean, we ended up reaching audiences even beyond the borders. We got comments for, the actual campaign and all that stuff. And it's nice when that happens, when you've got a feel good campaign that really transcends borders. And I believe pop culture wise, let's stay close to it. We can see what piano's doing globally. Our DJs are acknowledged. We've got so many artists and stuff that are doing well abroad. We've got movies here and there that are starting to pop up really well on platforms like Netflix, and any advertising opportunities that will come to reach those audiences will be very important. And that's all South African driven. And then, every now and then we do well in the rugby and the crickets and all that stuff. And brands really want to partner with those things. And it really opens up the world to who we are as South Africa and the opportunities of creativity that we have in this country and we can also leverage for ourselves.
I like that. All right, I know I said there was this last question, but now I have another last question for you.
No,
Okay, you've described
don't stress.
brand building as creating moments that matter. Mention a moment that mattered in your personal life that you can think of that really stood out, whether it be in the last few days or past few months, and also professionally.
So I think a moment that mattered for me, and I mean, I think I'm still young. I'd like to say I'm still young, but not a very long career. But within the career that I've worked in, is moments that matter is when a brand in the storytelling. So when you tell a story and you can link a campaign to a socio-economic situation, or do good in those moments. I mean, I like, for instance, like recycling and upcycling, right? And I believe that that helps the environment. So in a lot of my communications and stuff, and the moments that I try to create, so it's fine. It's always fine to push the product, right? Because at the end of the day, we need to report on sales and units sold. Transactions are very important. But also, what are we doing for the environment? So it's also when I'm giving you my product, what are you doing with that product? So I know you had said you like a Tau Egberts fan, and I don't know if you've seen some of our comms or yourself just as a consumer, keep the jar. I mean,
Yes, I've got a bunch of jars.
yeah,
I use it. It's nice and big. It's perfect for my crystals. It's a small vase also, which I use it for. I don't have big vases, so I just so happen to have a dough F-birds in my house and a jar. So yeah, it's great for storage.
yes.
I love it. Yeah, we don't throw it
So
away here.
you're sustainability driven consumer, and that's the insights I tap into, because then I'll start marketing that and saying, listen, keep the jars. And then
Yes.
just refill your coffee sometimes, or put your utensils in, or put your makeup stuff in, and all that. So I think those moments where I can talk about things that impact society and impact the world are the moments I care about.
Oh my goodness. See, I contributed. Yay. Don't forget about me.
Yes, every little contribution matters. We definitely won't.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me and for sharing your knowledge, your expertise. You've really shared a lot with our viewers, and I'm sure they can take at least one thing with them into their day to day lives, into their now influencing journey, and whether they start or whether they're in the middle or have years of experience in influencing. Someone took something from this. And I hope to chat to you real
I
soon.
hope
Thank
so.
you for joining me, Mbulelo. All right, you at home, stay right where you are. Make sure you do follow us, like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's Micka on Influencing. It's the world where we explore what influencer marketing is about. What is the media world all about? And I promise to bring you some more incredible guests next time. Stay tuned.
That's a wrap on this episode of Micka on Influence. I hope you're walking away with fresh insights and new ideas to level up your influencing game. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, follow and like, and also share with your network. Join the community obsessed with mastering the art and science of influence, because in this space, we don't just follow trends, we create them. Until next time, keep creating, keep connecting, and stay influential.